set myself on fire just to keep you. Then in my head was so tired, but what have we become?
It's really hard. And I think you need to have a really good game plan revolving around this, and everyone needs to be fully bought in, knowing how to play their agents, knowing how to play the game plan, and it's just like something that's really difficult to pull off, I feel.
So what he's saying is that he would change his team to be more like KC because everybody knows their role, what they have to be doing, and the game plan. But I think that this is actually cool. It brings out something new. I think that KC have been very innovative this year, and I actually praise them for them.
You steal it?
Yeah, I would steal it.
Yeah.
If I had the rest of KC, yeah.
Okay, you steal it.
Yeah.
Next thing,
I'd be Magnum.
Next thing, Steele, I heard that you might have some proclivity to a little bit of trash talk in your days on stage. So we have a clip I wanted to show you. This is from KC as well. I want to ask, would you steal this trash talk? From KC as well. I want to ask, would you steal this trash talk?
Let me guess. Nice. These guys, I'm so much better than them.
What the f are you guys doing?
Sit the f down. Let's go. Nice. Let's go. Calm down.
Would you steal it?
Yeah, I would. They look like they're having fun. Yeah, they look like they're having fun up there. You know, even within themselves, they're all just like, they're joking about how they're winning and like, oh, stay calm. I like that. That's it's always nice to see, because trash talk and everything's not always about focusing on your opponent. It's also focusing on your teammates and making sure that everyone's having a good time and vibing out. Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. You could see it. They were just looking at each other, making sure that everything is for like the collective good, not just someone having a moment. You know, you see now, right? And he's like,
this. We ran something, I think it might have been exactly this when I was on this. I think it actually works pretty well because, you know, you can do a lot of like the slow plays and walk around with the chamber as contact, but then you have the ability to also speed up using the sky with the rays and making like some split plays on the map split, obviously.
a little bit in the middle. Like it's the sky that I'm not 100% sure of. I know that you need a way to gather some more information, but yeah, I also like it. I like how again people are thinking outside of the box and just thinking what's better for them as a team and what they understand is good within a map.
Do you think this is also foot specific? Because, you know, for the last split one, very KC.
Yeah, for sure. Like I think that also Krax was unreal on the race. Like he just looked so much comfortable. I think that Mr. Fallen is also perfect for being on the sky.
Well, I can't wait to see if we're going to see both of these comps today. Of course, these teams, they had a great result in week one, and it's time to see if they will, they will fare against each other and whether they're going to continue their winning ways. It's time to bring out Carmichael and Foot. Well, KC, they are always confident in EMEA. And you heard it from them last week. They want to change things up. They want to evolve. They want to innovate. And they want to make sure they do not get caught off guard on this stage. But on the other side of this matchup, of course, a team that is no stranger to doing things a little bit wacky. No stranger to any changes. And it felt like after last week, we are finally on board with this man, CNED, not playing the Jet. But the question is, they took a map off of KC last time they played against each other. Can they do that again today? Are they able to maybe go one stage even further by pulling off an upset?
Yeah, exactly. The testing period has to be over. They tested and tried a lot of different things and compositions during kickoff, and the other day they proved that that testing period is off, that they actually mastered and polished some of the ideas that they previously had. Now, is that going to be enough also with the extra time added that they had by not going to Madrid?
Yeah, I think KC right now they're on such a strong, sharp upward trajectory that even though Foot might be looking a little bit better and marginally better from like what we've seen before, it's almost like they're moving sideways or very subtly upwards.
Yeah, and as you guys can see from the map meter here, Foot, they take away the Sunset, which means the Lotus is going to be open. Do you feel like teams should maybe just start banning the Lotus against them?
I'm just surprised that they move away from the Breeze. You know, they've been perma-banning it, and as I said, they tested a lot of maps, but Breeze was not one of them, and even last week they decided to not play it. And as you were saying, Sue, if you leave Lotus open for KC, they're going to pick it. We were talking about the split compositions, and they're not even going to second ban Breeze, so that means if we get to that decider, we finally will see the Breeze, and we know what happened last week with KC in this map.
Yeah, I mean, we can sit here and talk about like the Lotus. I feel like KC has pretty like a lot of depth with their map pool. I feel like they're in a position right now where they just have the entire package. They're hard to read, they have a lot of structure, and they have a lot of purpose to everything they do. So it's going to be interesting to see, like, is Foot going to be able to rate that even on Bind going into the first map?
Yeah, but it just feels like when you give them the Lotus, you're giving them a 1-0 up, no matter how you look at it. But the Bind is where they lost the Paper Eggs, you know, and the Yoru stuff they tried. Kuka, what did you think?
Yeah, I think it also has to do with the preparation coming into this. We're not in kickoff anymore. This is not a one-time thing. It's not a tournament that you have to play day by day. You actually will have a bit more time to prepare for your one specific opponent. Well, in case this week they have to face against two. But, you know, most likely you only have one opponent and you have to make a plan just for them. And for this one, my only question was going to be, is Foot going to be picking the Bind or the Split? You know, it's a bit of picky poison, but as you said, Yinsu, Bind is a map that they have already won against KC. But KC is going to come in with a lot of prep.
They owned them on this map, and that's not many teams can say that.
Not many teams can say it, but there's like two things that you can have on the flip side. One of them is that KC has definitely had time to kind of like rebound from the losses. You learn more from losing than you do from winning, just because you get exposed more and then you
In all three, we can see here on this pistol round, the attack side of KC is under a bit of threat. They tried to take control on B. Maybe the idea to go back later on, and well, that's definitely the idea now after losing Tamazi and Martin. Tamazi being down means no Viper wall as well, so crossing out into this site could be difficult. The good thing is there's only one player here to defend, Tom.
Yeah, the bad thing is it's CNED. Now, he's got himself the wall still if he wanted to try and sort of section. Oh, no, wait, no, he doesn't. Never mind. He bought armor.
He used the
So
wall inside of...
He's just used it, yeah. He moved
Bath.
over to use it a minute ago and has just locked off that angle. So it means he can just hold on to some of those positions. And with 30 seconds left,
30 seconds
well, it's going to
left.
take them a little bit of time to even break through this if they wanted to. We've seen him be ever so deadly in these positions before, but for now, they are going to clear that spot. They know where he is, and the rotation's coming in for the rest of the team.
That wall's going to go down at some point. There it is. There's a player behind him. It should be an easy kill. CNED's turn, though, and he's caught Magnum. Narrate's caught in the open, attempting to make that pinch happen, and now the spike is down. It's an utter disaster for the attack. They tried to make something work. They thought they'd caught CNED in a corner, but he wasn't cornered. Able to come out on top foot. Don't lose a single player in the pistol. A strong start for the defensive side.
Yeah, and Andaluthia flawless to kick things off. Doesn't get much better than that. And normally they're the ones dishing out second round victories, so thankfully they should be all right to get things over the line. But this is the thing with Foot. I think we sort of underestimated them because of kickoff. We saw them lose to KC and Heretics and go, oh, well, that's them done. They're not going to be that great this season. Come back in, decimated Liquid, and obviously we then found out that KC and Heretics were actually two of the best teams in the entirety of Emea right now. So this congestion could be interesting. CNED, well positioned, a chance to do some real damage, but, you know, he's got support.
Yeah, the backup is there, and mighty backup it is. Even a snake bite to close out the round. Big kills for Yedije, 3 away from a Viper's Pit early on.
Viper's Pit, which would you rather have?
Hey, listen, I'll take either. In the hands of these players, it doesn't matter. Just get those orbs stacked up, and now I think we'll be focusing more towards Yedije. I'm surprised Captain even bought a weapon. Why not play with the Classic after what we saw from him yesterday? He was able to crumble Liquid single-handedly with no credits invested. But now he's got a Vandal coming into this, and the surprise as we get back into the game, people might be shocked to see round 3, Foot have gone for an op. CNED has pulled it out right off rip on the Sage now. I'm excited to see his ideas with this. Straight up early peek. No one peeking just yet, and a nasty surprise awaits them, but it's a missed shot. KC can count their lucky stars.
This is where KC now may even just go for the classic strat, something that many have brought out in the past, of avoid CNED. It's a good one. It's one that normally saves you, but up against this Foot side, it's definitely been a little bit more problematic. Mr. Fallen himself, ever deadly. With the pressure coming in, Martin over the top. The counter flash is good. Both blinded up by a Dizzy. But they are now going to look to wrap around. Spike will be going down. Nothing to be stopping that. And now it has to be a retake with weaker weapons.
Some advantages maybe if they can force those close-range fights. But it looks like they're out in the open. Mr. Fallen's good for the first, but their numbers are quickly thinning out. Mr. Fallen shot in the back with no chance, and Cena, he dropped out of heaven to take the fight with the op. That's a big weapon left on the floor, and it looks like it will remain there. Nobody from the attacking side brave enough to pick up the attack side op. Big loss credits-wise, but because of the early economy with Foot, they're still going to balance out evenly well. It's just Cena that's going to struggle.
Yeah, I guess the thing is he'll probably just play close in hookah, or that's the one thing you can kind of get away with in Bind, is having one weaker weapon. We've seen it many
100%.
times with the Judge. It can work out, but yeah, really clean stuff from KC as well, especially when things got a little bit shaky. I think this team have proven themselves to be able to weather the storm versus some of these, well, more aggressive teams. I feel like this squad of Foot definitely falls within that bracket already. They're going to force Captain off that aggressive position. You can see the wall's been utilized just to try and hold off Hookah, at least for the moment. And the rest of the team are all going through B-Long, but this might just be for orb control.
And we've already got the paranoia down, but flashes from Magnum still exist. Dizzy up top, there's a deep flash from Magnum, keeping these players trapped in, allowing individual fights to be taken. KC are winning again and again. Yedije and Mr. Fallen, the last ones to try and fight their way back through. You can see Yedije still on the other side of the map. That was a quick take from KC. You can see why they didn't take the op there. They need their guns for charging down that site, and it's worked out very well. An almost unlosable post plant. Mr. Fallen does well to find the first. The snake bite a little deep. Oh no, it's not a little deep. In fact, Martin was hit by it, so he's easier taken down. But a 1v2. And Shin eventually closes out. Okay, KC.
We never see Shin.
No.
It's another Shin triple kill
Where's
that we never
Miniboo?
got to see.
Where's Miniboo when you need him?
Oh god, he is cursed. He is cursed. But no, again, something I want to highlight as well going into this matchup is change compositionally. This is something that fairly different from what we've seen in the past, which is bringing back in that Gecko for Narrate, moving him off of what was a Raze and not having the Yoru anymore. So they've gone for, obviously, less of a double duelist, but normally you got that information from the Yoru anyway. But I think Narrate's Gecko is one of the best we've seen in the entirety of the VCT. So good with this agent, so good at getting those players blinded up, and the combination of having that double flash is also going to be that little bit more difficult to deal with.
They're ready. They're waiting for this push to come through. A wise play by the side of KC, and the reward is there. Paranoia, though, that's going to make it awkward. Tamazi's so low, and there was nowhere to go. Pushed from every side. That's making great use of a low buy from the side of Foot. They've claimed a weapon, and CNET's claimed a kill. That plant might be undeniable, but if CNET could survive, oh, they'd have the numbers. Still, Thrash ready to go for Mr. Fallen, and he's legging it.
And Narrate.
He's on his way around to long, presumably to use that to break his way through. The time is still good to make this work.
Yeah, that's the thing. You can see Narrate has fallen back to a position where he can use his as well. Both teams are basically having the potential idea and already stopping it from getting any real value now becomes the opposing side, as we are going to see the TP. Nice idea from out of Captain, but not quite dealt with quick enough. The defuse is already happening. Halfway through, the spam is going to at least drop it, but for now, Mr. Fallen needs this kill, and he needs it immediately. Does manage to get it. I don't know if there's going to be enough time. I think he's just about got it over the line. Mr. Fallen pulling off the Red Bull clutch.
Unbelievable play. Even uses that smoke to isolate the duels. It was a little deep, just thrown out in panic to try and allow that push up to deny the defuse. And wow, it ends up backfiring massively. Still, you have to commend Foot for coming in at the start of this round so well. They played the latter stage perfectly, but early on, the idea is to push up, to crunch these plays. You could see the KC were ready for that kind of aggression, but couldn't deal with it. But masterful play in the clutch from Mr. Fallen, reading their positions perfectly. And now 3-2. Viper's pit online, off rip. The defensive side back in control of things. And it looks like KC they're not going to go into it.
No way. Shin's actually just TP'd straight in, and because of everything going on the site, I don't even know if they're going to realize Yedajay has somehow managed to peek his way that little bit further forward, surviving just outside, but he's down to just 20 HP. Has to fall off this completely. And now Shin's position is just basically holding off any rotations.
He got back in the pit, but the B site is no longer the target. KC have realized how many players are coming their way, and there's the info. Krax knows if he's detected 2 players, they're on the rotate, they're pushing up. There's a lurk left behind by Martin to pick up stragglers as Heaven Control is sought after. Shin still with a smoke, but no Paranoia to clear out these angles. Instead, they'll drop though, keep Heaven Control, I presume, and get a nice safe plant. Look, chopping up the site in a very different way.
Spike planted.
But Foot have positions all across the map. They're scattered, and the surprise factor could catch them a couple of kills. Although they've lost Mr. Fallen, lost their way back through, out of Captain, isolated and dealt with, and now it's impossible. As soon as Yedajay falls, we realize Krax 1v4, surrounded. Best chance was just to do damage, and he doesn't even get that. KC with an answer right back.
Yeah, a really nice sort of wrap back around. I love the mid-round calls. This is something that we've got to give credit again to Magnum. Bear in mind, he is still a new IGL, someone who's only really been picking it up when being within this team, someone who's been under some pretty decent IGLs in the past, but the fact is just having the state of mind after you get the opener, after you get rid of the pit, to be able to just rotate back through, clear out the players, and just have yourself a plant on the other side of the map. Really well played from KC, adaptive in those mid-rounds. I want my back to pistols again, Mitch, but, you know.
Out of Captain's spot. You know, he's gone for the Sheriff. I don't know why, Tom. Those right clicks were hit. They were precise. Let's see what he can do with the Sheriff in hand. Already one has been shot as Krax goes down. And the numbers on Foot are focused on the A site. They're again trying this pincer that worked so well for them before, but no value to be found. Instead, KC are going to the other side of the map. A Viper wall's blocking them out, but with the flashes they have, the Dizzy clears out most angles. Martin can see the rest, and they know it was a retake B setup now. So a nice, easy plant, and a post plant that realistically there's not that many dangers in. The Viper wall kind of means they have to keep some players on site, or it could get messy. outside of that, I mean, it's unlikely Foot used the res here.
No, well, I'd say it's at 0 at this point because of where the player actually died. Cracks on the other side of the map. Again, though, trying to aggress off of it has given a fight to CNED. Ada Captain slowly encroaching. At this point, it's been so long that they kind of have to expect that he'll be here. Shin already watching. Magnum there alongside Narrate to clean things up. And it's not the prettiest of shots from Mr. Fallen either. KC, 4 players surviving, credits building, and they take themselves the lead.
Well, the attack side's starting to heat up now. That's 2 in a row from KC, and big investments in both those rounds from Foot. It means they're running out of cash. Obviously, they bought the Sheriffs in the last round.
Yeah.
They tried to make something work the round before, dive in with all their money. We haven't seen the op return for CNED either, and it's been a credit deficit on that side. I'm excited to see what KC have planned in this one because they could run away with their attack if they claim this.
Yeah, and that's sort of the expectation here. Like, Foot, the last time they played this map was versus KC. They had a 9-3 attack in half. Now, bear in mind, now they are playing this without the duelists. They don't have themselves CNED's raise to entry. But I don't think that's going to change the fact that they'll likely have a strong attack, maybe just hoping they can get a few more rounds on this defense. For now, though, again, it's been the same walk up. Straight up B long, taking that space almost for free. It hasn't really been challenged for, and it seems like Foot goals in this round are to try and hold on to Hookah.
KC even thought about expanding the Paranoia just to clear close on Garden, but keeping it in the back pocket. I thought maybe we were seeing a 5B long play, but one player, Martin, sent alone. The wall up will block him out, at least for the time being. His disruption now limited. Snake fighting a slow, but
He's
not
got no
pushing
blast packs as well. So he actually physically wouldn't be able to get over that wall, otherwise it might be a problem. Now, though, they look to try and pick up the pace alongside the Seekers. The slow is going to deny them a little bit of time, and actually, combined with a Mosh, it's allowed at least for an extra rotation to come in.
Kill on Yedege, the numbers thinning. Good fights for Foot, as they now have to concede the site, though. With the TP coming through, this player's in spawn to try to just hold the push, hold the angle, so KC don't get any extra space. They end up losing their life to it. Crack still with 2 flashes, could try to play into the pit, but they're separated. It's one thing fighting through a pit, fighting through it from 2 different angles. It's only going to be even more difficult. You can see Cracks will try to get an angle, but his teammate's already fallen to a shorty, and now his HP ever lower. It was only a matter of time as the Decay made him an easy target for Magnum. That's 5 for KC, and now credit trouble for Foot.
That seemed really disjointed as well from Foot, because Ada Captain going into that like 2v3 had his Paranoia, uses it in a position where I don't know if he's hoping that somebody runs out of the pit in panic, but there's no way that Cracks was still walking around the pit. There was no way that Cracks could have any impact or go into the pit or combine it with one of his own flashes. It was just basically thrown out for no reason at all.
Maybe it's the idea of like, okay, he's used the Paranoia, everybody turns to face him or gets ready for the drop, and they make a mistake, allowing his teammate to capitalize.
His teammate wasn't close enough to ever kill any of them. So it was weird.
It was a strange play, to say the least. One that hasn't netted the value. 5-3, KC now face off against a low buy. This is where Foot were terrifying up against Team Liquid on Icebox. Well, the whole series, Icebox is the most memorable one. Let's see if we can add Bind to the tally. Shin doing his best to make sure that doesn't happen. Already cleared out the real danger of that close range angle, and they're still going to fight up close. That almost came with a hefty cost, but Cracks gets nothing. CNED and Ada Captain.
Thrash isn't done with you.
Oh, wow. They're not having an easy time. Thrash already caught one. Clean kill. How much can CNED make this? Oh, that's a beautiful double. Still, I would say it's on the verge of unwinnable, unless they give him the fight of his life up top. We just pick the weapon and get out of here. But he wants to drop those. He wants to try for it. The wall up. The fuse won't even get half. And they know now he's not on it. On time alone, it seems like they've won. And indeed, it's locked in. Weapon retrieved, but no way out.
No, it's a little bit of extra damage. The res was already available, so it hasn't helped in terms of the orbs other than for his opponents.
1v4 with a Sheriff, all 4 kills, about all 4 dead, let's say. That's pretty damn good.
I've seen him almost 1v5 on this map versus Focus.
You just had to throw that in. You had to throw it in.
Hey, you know, your boy Lewis had to showstopper him to stop that from going the other way. So, you know, for CNED, that was an everyday clip. But
Was he on a on a Sage then as well.
Yep,
Yeah,
and on a Sheriff. The reason he loses it is because he tried to res a teammate. That was literally the reason he lost.
Doesn't need backup.
No.
Not this guy.
But even still, 6-3, looking good so far for KC. Krax has been quiet, but he got off to a good start in this round. Again, though, Tomazi, someone to highlight in every single match. His Cypher in their last game was sublime, and his Viper still looks to be on point. Shin trying to reaggress. The pop flash is good, but even still, Krax finally has awoken. A third already in the round for him, a pop flash. He's looking for more, 8 HP, and he's still pushing forward. Has the support of Cena and one narrate. The reason that Foot lost that long-fought battle on Lotus was because this man had 40 kills. So I don't think Foot are going to take him lightly.
Well, we've got a lot of respect for seeing that. He's earned it. I think Narrate has too. Tier 2 duelist to top of the world almost in stats. This guy's unbelievable. But this 1v4, well, he's got time on the clock, but just look at the positions of Foot. As soon as contact is taken, all eyes will be on Narrate. I hope he's got a high sense to catch this 364K. Ada Captain shuts it down before it even gets started. And with 4 rounds on the board, Foot are back with a little bit of control. And it's mainly the ultimates. It's 4 ultis in play for this squad. This could at least see them equalize at the half.
Joe, I really like at the end of that round, Cena heals Ada Captain when Krax was on 8 HP. Like, maybe he only just got the heal on live. It just looked like very funny timing of when to use that. After 4 rounds in a row, though, Foot finally back on the board. As said, my expectations are still going to be there for that attack side. It's where we've seen them thrive in the past. So if they can get a couple more rounds, it definitely isn't a death sentence. Martin, though, doesn't seem to want to allow that. An instant usage straight through the TP of the Thrash. And there has actually been a player to follow. This will give KC the information that maybe they can go back in the other direction. But there are still a couple of players here.
Well, I think the main problem is that that spike is now down on the floor.
Yes.
It's been locked down by Foot, only 2 players. They could take the TP and further reinforce this. Problem is, Orb just claimed for Shin. 1 away from getting his ultimate. If he wins a fight, they could just TP, claim that spike back the easy way, so to speak. Narrate doesn't have a Dizzy, didn't manage to retrieve it early on. It means you can't just flash them and go seize this. Here comes the rest of Foot. The rotations have come in. Now there's 4 players. Narrate, oh, he had some support, but the wall completely blocked off Martin. So everybody's just staring at that angle. Nice and easy. The TP used, but not successfully. They've blocked him out from claiming the spike. And with 40 seconds left, they have a long run to go on. You still got Martin close, but I mean, he's got 4 players to fight, a spike to retrieve, and a site to plant it on after. They might already be thinking about the next round, because this one's out of play.
Yeah, the credits aren't really in the spot either now for KC. Throwing away some weapons wouldn't really be the ideal scenario. He is waiting for Mr. Fallen, but actually, uncharacteristic. Martin isn't going to hit himself the shot, and now, well, all that remains is Shin, who is going to try and hold onto the gun. Great round from Foot. And the big thing there as well, although Cena, I think he tunnel visioned a little bit on placing the wall down, the knife catches Narrate. So he's waiting to try and catch them as they go for the spike. The knife thrown out by Krax hits him, and that's why he instantly swings onto the corner that he's in, because that was one of the only places right there that he could have actually been landing. So good utility usage throughout the round from Foot to win that one.
Yeah, I mean, really, like the knife for the info, the wall, like, immediately, I'm not even sure if it was off the knife. It seemed like it was almost it's synchronized. It just means they've nowhere else to look, nothing to worry about whatsoever. And it also obviously allows them to stack up on the spike without being shot at. 5 to 6, great denial from the side of Foot last round, both in the space taking, the realization Shin was playing orbs to try to claim back a little bit of ground. Get that spike, and now KC come in with weaker weapons, but one big one backing them up. The showstopper for Martin. The only problem is popping that early. He's almost certainly going to see the response of Krax. If you pick the wrong site, that knife is going to be, the knife will cancel out. The ult will cancel it out, but luckily they've gone the right way, so the rocket's online, and it's caught out of Captain.
That's a good start. That will not only potentially get him an upgrade in terms of weaponry, but it's also taken so much space. The shot off gives up where Thomas is standing. Mr. Farland still holding strong, but will fall. Cleared out by KC. And while now you have seen that no command put into play, but there's not a lot left, really, that Casey could have utilized.
Just look at these angles, man. Martin's got a stinger, but what we don't see is what's in his hand. A shorty holding the close angle means his teammates inside Lambs don't have too much to worry about despite their low HP. Good shot as Yedajay falls, and denial of the defuse with a gap in the wall used to push around, and then the flank comes in eventually. Very clean from KC as they close out this half with a 2-round lead.
Yeah, I've really enjoyed that half coming out from Casey, if I'm honest. I think really adaptive in the way that they actually played, like constantly happy to go for mid-round group ups. So even if they've got the spike down in this round, they all immediately start wrapping around to avoid where the Sage Wall was, and they just have the spams on the spike from behind, clearing all the players in front. We saw the round where they did the same thing through the spawn, realizing that a lot of players have rotated through the TP and they could try and catch players out. It also been cleared by Shin. It seems like this team is very good at sort of feeding information either to Magnum or whoever's making those mid-round calls, and then just acting off it as a group. And I think that's such a sort of valuable thing to have as a team, is just how reactive, how quick they are to adapt in these scenarios. Now Foot go on to that attack, but as mentioned, they no longer have Cned's raise. So that's one thing as space taking that might be a little bit difficult. They do have a little bit of extra utility though.
Something to help them get those plants. KC want to get aggressive towards Lambs, fighting on the corner. 2 players already and stacked up. Good shots connected by Martin, and then Narrate swings. Sees nobody. They've already claimed the space, denied the push, and left Foot sat back. Key thing here, Yedajay, his wall is down. You know that means they're not looking to cross up and take that space anymore. But for KC, it doesn't mean that they have to rotate and play this crazy. They've actually made a very good call, I think in a pistol round especially, to just have the fallback on B, give the side up completely, and leave Tamazi watching it. A retake on one side of the map, and a full stack on the other. This is going to be a tough one for Foot to find any opportunities. Even with the way Tamazi's peeking this, you sneak up B, you maybe get a plant, 5v3 retake, you sneak up B, you push all the way through, he'll either get you or spot you and run away, and that's all they need is the info.
Instead, it doesn't look like his impact in this round will have much at all. They are building into what is the completely stacked up site. 4 players waiting, contact held for Martin, and somehow Crack's actually done all right there. That looked like a moment where they might get slaughtered, but they brought it back into a potential scenario, although there's a lot of utility still available. The defenders putting into position so many spots now that the spike can't be planted in. Only 14 seconds left. The spams might not kill him off. He'll be able to survive at least a second longer, but it is left all onto Cracks. He doesn't even realize where they're coming from. Tamazi there to close out the round, and KC are going to extend their lead a little further.
God, I just love watching KC play Valorant, man. Such a smart pistol round. After the initial aggression and those 2 fights that go their way, they set themselves up for success. They make sure that there's no opportunities given to Foot, which if you think into Foot's last series, I think it's fair to say that was the exact opposite, Tom. Consistently, you would see advantage be taken, or even just early round risk be taken by Liquid, and Foot would slap.
I did Spider-Man on him.
Right back down. But this is the thing, now Foot are up against an opponent that aren't giving them those opportunities to bring back these crazy rounds, these classic rounds. I say that, and it is round 2, having lost a
this
pistol
is where
for
they
Foot.
did it.
This is the real danger zone, somehow.
To be honest, I will say I have a lot more confidence in Casey.
Even after that pistol, I think it shows you the difference.
Yeah, even just look at the way they're playing this round. That they've allowed the space. I think this team is where they've truly been the best in the division, is playing off those retakes. Double flash straight through. Cned says, you know what, I'm having none of it. And actually Cracks has hit one with that Sheriff. Oh, maybe we spoke a little bit too soon. He's really looking to try and take this one into his own hands, but Shin has been able to trade him out. No weaponry to be retrieved, but also a lot of the angles still made awkward, still made possible for Cned to try and hold them back. At a captain up close with a classic, always devastating. Mr. Farland's found another. This is starting to really fall apart, and the main issue now, Mitch, is that time, is that clock, as it all looks to fall apart again. It is the magic of this Foot side, is those second rounds are scarier than any other.
I don't know how they get away with it again and again, man. If they lose a pistol, they still get that early half advantage. Crazy. And we talked about this in their last series, if you guys weren't watching that. The advantage claimed by a round like this is tenfold what you get in a pistol. Their economy is going to be set
Yeah.
and their opponents have nothing to play with.
Well, to put it into perspective, they're coming into this next round, which is obviously round 3, with full rifles.
Yes.
And some of their players have like 3,000, 4,000 credits in the bank, so they can buy even into the next round. And they're coming up against what is just pistols, because their opponents haven't had a round break to sort of like, oh, okay, we'll come back in the next round. So you basically obliterate their economy for a round, make yours stacked, and then I have a chance to build it even further. And also you're talking about ults, like Cracks just managed to hit a few crazy shots. He's now 1 off already, having the null command for the next round. Now what is KC gonna do? They're gonna stack. They're gonna put every single egg into a singular basket. And it's already been spotted. So you kind of expect that Foot are gonna go, I think more than one person might have shot there. In fact, I think it was more than maybe even 3. So I think A's probably lighter.
I don't mind the idea, group up, push slow, and try to either take them down or find the flank up on Hookah, but now the realization is in, after seeing utility on A, that flank on Hookah is instead going to be a flank on A. Foot have played this incredibly well, and I think the idea behind this round is it's a money-maker round. You know, we already mentioned the credits they have. If they don't lose anybody here, that's fine. They don't need to reinvest in the next round. KC need to make this costly to make up for losing the last. And as you can see, all bases are covered by Foot. The back being watched, that flash didn't hit, and Magnum knows it. With 10 HP, he's not winning that fight. So he'll bail around to his teammates, and it looks like KC realized the name of the game. It's damage. So they're playing exits. They're willing to let this spike tick all the way down, and the question is, will anybody from Foot take an avenue that they can exploit? TP for CNET is safe, and look at the other 4 players tucked away, wall banging that angle, and ultimately finding that win exactly as they dreamed about. All 5 players alive. The credits now are stacked on the side of Foot. KC have a tough time defending this lead.
Yeah, it's one of those rounds where you're looking now at Yedege post-buy having 6,000 credits. Like they are set for the half. And as said, this is normally the half where we see them thrive. I think the combinations of Cracks and Mr. Fallen especially are going to be something to marvel at. And also something else to know, Anna Captain right now is having a quiet match. That doesn't normally last for long, so we'll have to see. KC obviously now onto their defensive side, and it's an aggressive start at that. Yedege may have done a little bit of damage. The combination's nice, but it doesn't quite catch them. Cool idea coming out of Foot, but not quite.
Orb up and fall back. KC don't want to overcommit to fights, and thankfully for them, they won't have to. It looks like there's going to be a utility dump on the way through Hookah. Tamazi the only one in danger, but he's got an easy enough bailout. Oh, never mind. I said they didn't want to fight. Tamazi just goes swinging on that angle, finds one, repositions 2, but Krax is ready for it. Ever vigilant, TP through. Oh, big fight on its way. I thought maybe they'd wait a second for this, but instead they go diving with the showstopper, claim the spike, and leave Mr. Fallen all alone. And with another TP, he's got an idea where everyone is. Now he's got that info locked in, but dealing with this is going to be a bit complicated. Even the flashes, he thinks they're going to push him. You know, he's burning up some of his utility that he very much needs if he's going to have any chance of reclaiming that spike.
This is the exact thing we're talking about, though. A lot of teams in this scenario go, okay, one dude left, let's just push him, let's try to take him down, let's kill him. Not a chance. Both just sitting back on the spike, not giving any opportunity, playing it safe, and you can see Mr. Fallen's desperately trying to just bait someone into a fight. In fact, they're just going to leave. They've just left altogether. Like, you know what, Mr. Fallen? We don't even want to risk one gun here. You have credits. We know that already. So we're just not going to give you anything. He's also 1 away from having Thrash in the next round, so they're not going to gift that over to him. And Mr. Fallen's left all on his lonesome as the round heads over to KC.
That is not a round you're going to see most teams going for in that way. The discipline of KC highlighted, and it makes me so happy because, again,
I can't think of any team, at least in the
someone's fighting. At least one person is fighting. The other 2 might run away.
Yeah.
One might run away, but someone is fighting there when there's a kill on the line. They're giving Thrash away, and they're setting Foot up for success in the next round. But no, KC play it smart. So I love this team. And Foot, well, their most advantageous trait is punishing over aggression, is taking fights. Well, they give them none, and then at the start of the round, they bring the fight. Krax loses his life off rip, and he's been a big factor behind their success. That utility gone, and most importantly, the weapon no longer in his hands.
Yeah, this is the yin and yang of KC. These aggressive starts to round, and then just looking to convert the 5v4. They are playing the numbers in Valorant, and it is enjoyable to watch. Now, Foot, they have to try and beat the odds. Krax has definitely had a bit of a resurgence when it comes to this second half, but at least for now, they're going to have to play this one without him, leaving with a couple of flashes, missing, and just trying to get that plant in, almost trying to bait again, so bait them into the fights. And only now that they have the full force of their squad are they going to try and get into position. The nade dropped, but Ada Captain's done well. Even still, though, trade is immediate.
That trade's keeping the favor for KC, and they know CNET could be around this angle, dealing with him. It's a little bit different, but he's got his ice wall out at least. It will be put into play, and they'll have to break it, buying a little bit of extra time. Mr. Fallen, though, dividing his attention, and Tamazi takes advantage of it. Damage, not a kill. Still 2 players alive. And with the spike being tapped as we speak, the spray's going to come through. A kill would give Thrash, at least if the kill was for Mr. Fallen. And he might not need it. Never mind! What? 6 HP left on Magnum. And he clutches the round from the jaws of defeat. I was already counting them out of that one.
Yeah. I feel like he must have broken his wrist to flick back to that second player. But again, here's just the early rounds, the paranoia combined alongside the guiding light to get them the opener. Seen it a little bit unlucky with the timing there, but yeah, it's these last couple of shots out from Magnum.
Wow!
Just filthy way to bring things home for the IGL, and well, now 10-7. Foot will have felt like that was theirs to take, and because of that, they're going to give guys a moment to talk with the squad.
Well, they have to, Tom. That was their way back in. Now they're on their last legs economically. Their ults are coming online. If they fluff this one, you're going straight to Lotus. And that's the problem. Bind was Foot's pick, and KC have come in with a commanding lead. I think with the way these rounds are going as well, you know, an upset here or there for Foot, a Foot round. But KC have been playing their game and finding very few flaws in it. In fact, I think if you're 10-7 in the lead when Narrate has 6 kills, you're doing damn well for yourself. Yeah. This guy's usually leading the charge, and he's not even, I mean, no disrespect to him, he's 6 kills, 10 deaths, 9 assists, doing his job, doing a lot for the team. But when he pops off, this game's over already.
Well, as I said, like last time these two teams played against each other, I think he broke the kill record for Emea of getting 40 kills in a match. So, you know, they probably were worried about him. Obviously, changes to their composition, changes that look good. Last time out, this was a 13-4 map in favor of Foot versus KC. Obviously, I feel like this team has evolved massively since then, playing through a Masters, having a decent finish, and only losing to the top teams within the world. And again, the same sort of early pressure. 3-player push, combination of utility to start. But Foot aren't sitting back. They're going to try and fight in towards Showers instead. An early fight wins them the duel, and Yadajay, another rookie to the league. As I've said many times, it does not feel like it.
It really doesn't. Yeah, you don't see too many rookies doing that, although it's funny to say it in this matchup, but Narrate on the other side.
True.
Exact same.
And Martin, and Tomasi. Yeah, I get your point.
This is a bad matchup for it, but usually the point stands.
Yeah, we got some kind of good rookies, you know?
But that's it. That's what EMEA is all about this season. And by the looks of it, Foot are looking to challenge that here and now. They're back on the board with 8. This is already a save call from KC. We're going to play it for the next. Of course, we mentioned that the way the early half went, and a couple of these rounds for Foot, they built up a major bank. They even managed to make it work with pistols when their economy was eventually challenged. Now, KC are in that same boat. It's not worth committing to this play. Instead, trying to save the weapons, and thankfully, they will drop out a captain who was hunting them down. So those weapons are pretty much secure.
The rest do still have a little bit of extra credits if they really wanted to fight for this, but with the majority of players either having their ult or being one away, and Tomasi also wanting to get his online, I don't think it's a bad call to just hold on to the extra weaponry. Still competitive, no doubt about that, but you do have to wonder how much of a possibility there's going to be. Because it's now a weird cat and mouse, because you've had the super aggressive KC defense, looking for the opener, falling back and making it awkward. This round, again, they aggressed on two fronts. They had that B-short aggression to try and take an aggressive fight, and then they also had two players push showers. They got absolutely boomed by Yedaje. And that's what I'm sort of wondering now. Is there going to be further sort of aggression? Are we going to have those moments where KC continue to push, or is them being shut down in this round going to change the dynamic of their defensive side?
Well, listen, to anybody at home panicking right now, waiting to see the word technical up on the screen, don't worry, it's a timeout, a normal one for KC. We're going to take a moment to discuss exactly what we've been talking about. This is a big round for them, and I think one of the key things that they've got to look at is the fact that Foot have 5 ultis potentially online. 2 are just 1 away, the other 3 there to play with, and so there's a lot of discussion that has to go down as KC potentially commit a lot of credits to this. If they do buy up, this could very much open that door back up for Foot. That seems to have been shut in their face a couple of times. There's a few big rounds Foot needed to win that they didn't, but that's a Foot game.
Yeah.
They'll win the ones they shouldn't.
I think the scary thing with buying up here is that the ult economy, although getting better for KC, it's firmly in Foot's favor. Like, they almost have all 5 online, one of them being Thrash, Null Command, Viper's Pit not far away. Okay, I would say that From the Shadows and Rares are very situational. The other side, you have Viper's Pit, Seeker's not far away, but ultimately this round could easily swing because of the ults that Foot have. And having some weaker weaponry, like a lot of the aggressive fights they've been taking, you're not going to want to judge.
You don't reckon?
No, maybe in a passive position, like sitting in lamps.
Yes,
you might want it there.
And that's it. Foot have been taking lamps a lot. That's what this wall is for. Cracks, unfortunately, a little bit of a recon beam going up in the sky as they eventually take control. They meet Shin, and the spams through the smoke. Well, they've caught Cracks again. That's 2 in a row. He won't be res this time as he's dropped for good. Fight back from Mr. Fallen gets 1. Thrash is online, no safe space to use it, but they're out. At least 1 is 2 safe, and the other still out on bat. Looks like Foot will be comfortably enough able to get this plant through. Thrash online, res. Yeah.
Planted.
I mean, good luck to you if you manage that res. Maybe you could sneak up late, go through the TP, but that's just not how you want to play this round.
I was wondering if CNED would hang around a little bit, wait for that rotation. Thrash is basically just being used as a deterrent, allowing him to get back into position, and then it's going to be held for the late round. I don't mind the idea, the push! It is bold from Ada Captain. Trying to get into a position to catch them off guard, but they are moving as a unit, as always with the KC boys. They move as 4, they kill all 3, and KC now just 2 rounds away from taking themselves the victory on their opponent's map choice and moving into their home turf.
11 rounds on the board. Like we said, Foot's ulti con was very much stacked. They're not able to make it work. Thrash used a null command too. But at the end of the day, it's a shooting game. That's what KC came in with, that mentality. Come in as a squad, and barely any damage done to them on the way back through. Clean 3-round lead. Credits on the line for that attacking side. They've got some to back them up, but
they rebought the judge. That was dropped by Shin.
Oh, was it?
Because he got the final kill with a rifle. So he has either dropped over and then rebought, or
probably
just picked it back up, which I think that would be insane.
Yeah, and for Narrate, like, he could have dropped him, but this is obviously, look at the value the judge found you last round. Why get rid of it?
Here we go again. This time they put Martin to try and shut down Yedaje, and well, he does do that, but there's going to be an immediate res, an attempt to try and counter this, but the bodyguard of CNED and the wall will mean that that advantage this time is kept. I think that's been the plan. Try and go for some of these double ups. It's just last time Yedaje just won the fight, and it's like, oh, okay, I guess I don't need to res you.
Oh, Viper's Pit. Now that's going to cause a couple of problems. See, Snakebite's already burned up by Tamazi. He's got 1 left to play with, but have to put the orb up. So he's not going to be able... Oh, that's actually Yedaje's orb. So never mind. He won't be putting that up. So at this point, there's no real denial. Those players could be pushed out, but the Seekers get some information. Players outside of B, at least 1 as the Seeker gets destroyed, and a second 2. KC have the info now. They have seen that there are players B. Yet they commit to the stack.
I think the thing is that what Foot did was they played so far back that the Seekers go deep enough that it looks like they're building up around that A site. They were back towards mid. They were holding, so they gambled on the KC side, and Foot They basically gambled that they would do that. A smart way to play with those rotations. At a captain, this fight could be everything. It's definitely a little bit more awkward. He dodges the flash, and the shots eventually connect. I feel like Magnum probably could have had him once or twice there. Now, though, Foot just starting to dominate, leaving Shin alone. And Andaluthia flawless is how they bounce back into this one. And well, I don't think this team's ever going to run out of credits at this rate.
Fantastic round from Yedege. That ult kept them in position. The fact that Viper's Pit's still on A, despite, I mean, one of those Seekers was destroyed literally in the doorway to Hookah. I'm surprised at that point at least one player doesn't move back, but we've seen this from KC before. The willingness to stack up a site, stay there as a team, and their retakes together have been near perfect. But
It's
this
also
time,
the 4v5. I think that's probably what sold it for them.
And then this time you have Yedege just waiting behind. He's saying, you guys want to retake as a team? I'll cut you up on the way back through. And he does such a good job at disrupting that late round from KC. Now, 11-9, 2 rounds in it.
Yeah, still looking for these aggressive plays. The flash in, and it seems like the TP was just used as somewhat of a ruse, just to try and almost play with them a little bit.
I wonder if they saw the back push and then realized, okay, if I TP, they might think I've TP'd Heaven, and they actually can't. They might not have anyone close enough to check that.
It does look like I've just seen Narrate still checking the back.
Yeah,
they are.
that's it.
They are watching Heaven because they don't know what control they've lost. This has been purely utilized by Ada Captain just to screw with them for the entire round. They're going to have to continuously think about where this guy could be. Even still, though, KC in terms of their setup, they've got 4 players ready and waiting, an aggressive hookah spot as well in case there's a rotation back. And it is just going to be this brawl on the A site once again.
Well, Ada Captain hit all 5 with Paranoia, but not with his ability. Now, though, they've realized where he is as he steps into the fight. All right, well, he was looking at Heaven. He should have been looking at the walkout. 3 kills coming back from KC. It's winnable yet again. They're not letting go of these rounds, but they might be forced to let go of the plans at least. Playing for the post, Shin walled off. No real chance to cause any sneaky plays. And so they'll group up instead. Viper's Pit for Tamazi. Online and enabled. Recon Dart used. Shin just goes ulting in to spot both players, but I think he only saw one. Might not have gotten to turn around in time. The Viper's Pit up. This is going to make it difficult, but CNED around the side. He could look for a spam. The spike's being tapped. He wants to move in to see him. And it all comes down to timing, which is near perfect for CNED. Now they wait out the decay. No, they don't. Yedege just swings. Fair enough. That's one way to handle it. 10-11. I thought they'd 2v1 the fight, but, well, Yedege's been hitting the last couple.
Yeah, he's been doing very, very well. And as I said, it's only a matter of time before you see Ada Captain come online. This still, again, though, the swings back and forth with this double up, but this time the 2v2 goes in their favor. As you said, CNED's reposition was perfect. And now after continuous buy round after buy round after buy round, KC are the ones to now take the hit.
To be honest, I think I've seen that same coach cam when they've won a round as well. It's hard to tell the difference, but KC definitely feeling a little bit of stress as they call for a timeout. And I think it should be their second one, right? They had one a little bit earlier on. For them, 11 rounds, they're knocking on victory's door. But the problem is that they've ran out of credits. They've lost their cash, lost their money. And so we're likely looking at an 11-11 scoreline. That means the margin for error is very slim on a squad that's been leading for the majority of this map.
I think the thing as well is that Foot have now started to adapt to those aggressive pushes. Because a lot of the early rounds were KC getting an opener, falling back, playing the 5v4. They're great in retakes, especially when they're advantage. I think they're one of the best teams in the world at trading. That's where they've been fantastic. But Foot have now, well, you even saw in that one, they used the TP just to get in their heads. They have to fall back. They can't keep playing aggressively because you don't know what ground that you have lost. Then that comes into a more standard execute, and that's where Foot's able to close it out with the even numbers. So even though it came close, I do think Foot have slowly been getting a hold of this attack side, as they did last time out. Even still, though, we're going to see the same level of aggression again, hoping that they can maybe bait for Narrate. Now, he does have Thrash, but unless this gets into a position where they believe they can win the round, I'd be very surprised if he uses it.
Yeah, there's no way. There's no way. You'd have to hear a stampede coming towards Bath. And Narrate, well, oh, the snakebite hasn't reached him. There is a gap. They should realize that. Even just from CNED's perspective, you can tell that snakebite isn't clearing the corner.
Uh-oh.
The dog through. Okay, he's won that with 30 HP left. One more blast. and he was in a lot of trouble. But the heal up is going to bring him back to fighting health, and he'll just avoid taking that fight. All paranoid up, Shin will get nothing. I like this mosh though. I could force him out of position, make the fight go down, and actually give the timing for Shin to swing around. Will they expect him to be here still? No, they don't. The rotate's going in, and it looks like there's going to be a god-tier late flank from Mr. Fallen.
Yeah, I think it's, again, just patience that actually ends up paying off in this round for Foot. Okay. And a captain's going to go down at least. And Mr. Fallen now on that long-awaited flank. Shin's actually going to go running back. Seems like he had an idea of it. The Sixth Sense talked about doing the Spider-Man in the last round. It seems like he had the Spidey senses, but even still, again, Foot just waiting. They actually end up catching Magnum. I think just, okay, he had to gamble at that point. You're getting to such late stages of the round, and that patience is, again, what pays off for Foot. 3 in a row here. This was looking like a done deal for KC. But now, well, it could go either way.
There was a lot of damage done there. I mean, 3 players were sub 50 HP out of the 4 remaining. So there were chances, but not ones that were capitalized on. This time, it has to be different. As a timeout is called in from Foot. And if I'm not mistaken, even though my hood might be lying to me, I think that's the last timeout available in regulation. There would only be one more chance to use
it was like KC called one when it was the pause that we weren't sure was a pause.
So I think that's just not being counted.
I don't think that one has been counted, but it's really interesting because I feel like this is the perfect moment for KC to take a pause. So I'm sure that on the other side of things,
thanks, Foot.
They're going, yeah, you know, I agree. It's a good time. But it might just be that round got a little bit shaky at times, or even just, again, I think Guys is very good at this point. He's been with this team a long time of reading, okay, maybe they're getting ahead of themselves. Maybe they're not talking about certain things I want them to talk about, and just going, okay, we need these last couple of rounds. Because that's the thing. Even though Lotus last time out when they played it was, as said, 20-18, one of the most ridiculous scorelines we've seen in Emea, that doesn't mean that KC haven't evolved since then. They got to go to Madrid, play the best teams in the world, learn the weaknesses of their own compositions, and also just play a lot more official matches on that map in particular. For Foot, it might be a map you think you can go close versus them, but you're not going to want to lose your own map and then go there.
Well, that's it. Yeah, if you're going in with a map deficit, there's a bit of a different vibe. For KC, they've had, I wouldn't say commanding control. It has definitely been in contention the whole way. But it seems like they had their hands on the reins for quite a while. And the rounds they've won stick in my mind as much cleaner rounds, repeatable ones. Then again, I do know Foot. And when you see a round you don't think is repeatable, you're wrong, because they'll win the next one with Classics on the next map. It just keeps happening. They've done it here already, and with 11-11 on the line, Martin, I saw he had an op earlier, but he's given it over to Narrate instead, playing a closer angle, and that's why 2 quick kills, and the 3rd from Shin. KC, they definitely got their hands on the reins now.
Yeah, he's been lights out in this match. So many important openers when it comes to this defensive side especially. 2 versus 4 scenario as they look to try and make their way continuing into this site. Shin still having his paranoia from earlier, just going to slow them down even further. The push coming up behind them as well eventually, so it feels like Foot really need to find themselves the kills here. And if they use the TP, their opponents will be waiting.
30 seconds
No, this is
left.
going to be commitment. Wall saved, perhaps for the spawn, but they have to fight for it first. Shin's in their way, and he's going nowhere. 3 quick kills. His first in the beginning of the round, trading out his teammate, and the last 2 clean as he stands alone and stays standing in the end. 12-11. KC 1 away from closing this out. A map that, like we said, they've had a decent bit of control on. They won't be delighted about how things have gone along the way. But if they get a 13-11, that's all that matters.
Yeah, it really is impressive as well, like this man's glow up. Like, I think we can all look back and say like, oh, you know, yeah, I saw glimpses, like he had some decent, but the fact is, even just on an individual level, Shin has been a different player this season. 22-14, having a great time within this new look KC. And while now just 1 round needed for KC to open up in this matchup, take that first map, head into their home turf of Lotus and put Foot on the back foot within this series. Even still though, as we've mentioned, Foot have had so many credits saved up since the early stages of this half that they are still comfortably able to buy.
Thrash in the back pocket as well. Cracks one away. There's a few ults that could come online, but it's Thrash for Narrate as well. Defensive reaction, op in his hands as well. Hasn't really had the chance to use it. Here comes the first Thrash of the round. Thrown in towards this site, and it might catch Martine. In fact, it will, but he's already out and safe. This player's covering him, but Shin was spotted and spammed at, so he'll give up that control. And the A site under a lot of threat. Mosh might buy some time, but another Thrash to go through. This time, Mr. Fallen falls, and then the shot connected by Narrate. Pulls the Thrash out as the defenders now throw theirs in to try to slow down this attacking side. And a captain has, I don't know if he's quite snuck his way in. They're definitely expecting it. In fact, I see Narrate holding it, but now there's no chance. TP was used to claim Spike after the wall down. I mean, okay.
Yeah, CNED went to get it, took damage from it, and then they used the TP. It's just, CNED has taken a ridiculous amount of damage for basically no reason at all. That's very, very badly communicated by the side of Foot. Now they're going to have an even bigger deficit, and as we've said, when it comes to these retakes, this is where the death ball of KC comes alive.
No, it's just been ruthless every time. CNED's now backing up inside of Hookah, be able to provide some support, but actually not the death ball. Split into two-man squads this time for KC, and that could be a mistake. Tamazi able to double up though, and that round is already sealed. CNED solo, tucked in the corner. KC deal with him and find the defuse with plenty of time to spare. 13-11 on map number 1. Foot's pick, KC's victory.
Yeah, that's the thing. It's another showing of KC growing, adapting, changing their composition in order to match up against Foot. The last time they played at kickoff, it was 13-4. Well, let's hope after the break that the Lotus is going to go a little bit differently for Foot. Otherwise, this could be a 2-0.
I know a place that will break you into 1,000 pieces. Stay away from them. Stay away from Lorca, Paco, and Picasso. Don't ask about Lola. Ay, Caballo Grande. Ay, Dolor de Nieve. But in spite of everything, it occurs to you to visit Andalusia. Don't say I didn't warn you. Be careful of the Andalusian crush.